Hey guys, I'm back with another video. I was just watching the talk that Anthony Chaffee and Ken Berry did. I didn't finish it yet, but this video is basically going to be another video about colitis because the part of their talk that I did watch talked a lot about autoimmune disease and how helpful carnivore is, or a highly animal-based diet is, for healing autoimmune issues. And it brought up a lot of memories that I presently don't even necessarily remember when I think back to having colitis. When I give the account of what happened to me, I generally say the most apparent things that really stick out, but their talk just brought the whole experience so clearly back to me. And what I find so ironic, and to be fair, I guess you could say that they're biased because they've both experienced huge health improvements on a meat-based or carnivore diet. But being that, besides the fact that they're men and I'm a woman, they've gotten a lot of the results that I want myself, like reverse aging, like energy, just getting the nutrients that you need on a daily basis. Aside from those things, they've also seen anecdotal evidence of patients who have healed autoimmune diseases like Crohn's and colitis especially, and that was a large focus of at least what I watched. I watched about a half hour of it so far. And this brought back to mind the fact that when I was diagnosed with colitis, I remember so clearly that my doctors led me to believe that veganism was actually a good thing for colitis. And I'm not putting all the blame on my doctors, obviously. Obviously, I took the initiative and took the responsibility to figure out what was actually going on with my health. And if I hadn't, I would probably be on some kind of medication right now for it, because I would have just taken their word. But anyway, they totally led me to believe that veganism was absolutely fine for colitis, if not beneficial. My doctors definitely told me that red meat specifically and dairy actually aggravates colitis in colitis and IBD patients, and that the elimination of those things would help colitis patients. So they were basically like, you're one step ahead because you've already eliminated those things, so that's great. And then they gave me a list of foods to eat that had no fiber, and the fruits and veggies that are generally recommended for colitis. I don't even know about veggies, but fruit, banana and stuff, and applesauce and whatever else. And they never said once that veganism and the amount of fiber I was eating they never made it apparently clear to me that fiber could be what was causing my colitis. And obviously they knew that I was vegan, so I don't know, I guess it could partially just be the doctors being ignorant about nutrition in general. But again, if you know somebody's vegan, you can infer that they're eating a lot more fiber than the average person. But again, they never suggested to me that this could be an issue with my colitis. It's hard to describe, they obviously did tell me that fiber was an issue, but then I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They told me fiber was an issue and that I should reduce it, but they never realized that being that I was vegan, it's basically impossible for me to not eat fiber unless I was just eating literally refined carbohydrates all day. I don't know, and juices and stuff. Obviously that's a recipe for diabetes, and nobody can be healthy eating that way. So again, I don't know, maybe my doctors were just completely clueless about nutrition, and that probably was a part of it. But now, as these memories come back to me, I find it so ironic that at the time, my doctor's advice really led me to believe so much harder that veganism was actually a good thing for my colitis, and that the answer to healing my colitis naturally was in veganism. And that's why when people approach me and try to argue with me about colitis being able to be healed through veganism, I almost have a little, like, I try to have an understanding approach in the way that I answer them, because I know that medicine generally seems to say that you can heal colitis through diet, or I don't even know. I think to a degree it does say that a plant-based diet can help with colitis, but I'm sure on the other hand, conventional medicine also states that you should take like biologic medications and steroids and stuff, which then obviously that's not healing colitis naturally. So it's just so ironic to me. And if I didn't take the initiative to figure this out on my own and not take that it was just a chronic disease that I was going to have forever, if I took that at face value and I didn't search for the solution, I would be dependent on colitis medications right now, and my life would be getting interrupted by colitis every time that I had another flare up, which was about 1 to every 2 months. And when it started getting really bad, it was just an ongoing thing that completely disrupted my life and put me in the hospital and literally almost led to me dying. So it's so crazy and sad to me that doctors like Ken Berry and Anthony Chaffee are so niche. And like, I don't know about Anthony Chaffee, but I know Ken Berry specifically has had his practice burned down. I think his house was also, he was also like a victim of arson at his house. And that is just so mind-blowing to me. And it's really sad that most doctors, not even intentionally, they're just taught to push medications and think that you're crazy if you want to pursue healing a disease through diet. And to me, like, again, thank God I never took the doctor's word. I mean, to a degree I did at the time when I was still vegan, but there was this knowing in the back of my mind that I could heal that my disease was not inherent. It wasn't a genetic thing. It wasn't something that I was just predestined to have and I was going to have to deal with my whole life. I knew that that wasn't the case. I knew that somehow I could heal it through the proper diet. And that's also another reason that I find the people that try to attack me for leaving veganism to be so funny, because at the end of the day, my intention with veganism was that I genuinely felt at the time that it was the most ethical and the proper human diet. So that was my basis with it. When I realized that that wasn't true anymore, then it only makes sense that I would switch to what I then came to believe is the proper human diet and the most ethical, which is the way I eat now. So really, in that sense, going from vegan to carnivore, or, hyper carnivore, I'm probably eating more actual carnivore these days than I ever have been, because I barely eat fruit anymore and I don't eat honey. Anyway, when you look at it in that sense, going from vegan to carnivore isn't extreme at all, because my intention stays the same. My intention is to eat the proper human diet and the most ethical diet, or as ethical as you can get. And I now believe that to be carnivore. So again, in that sense, my intentions haven't changed. So it's just the fact that I've learned and grown and found something better that works better and is actually more true to what I am trying to accomplish. So again, I hope you guys are following me, but in that sense, it makes complete sense that you would go from veganism to a carnivore diet. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video quickly about this while it's on my mind. I know I have quite a few people that are on here that have colitis, and I hope that maybe you can relate to this. I'm especially interested to know if you guys have had doctors tell you that you can heal colitis and Crohn's by being vegan, because I think that advice is so dangerous. I really do, because again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, but from my own experience, the oxalates, the fiber, the vegetable oils, all of those things that were clearly super inflammatory for me I can only assume they're what caused my colitis, because the elimination of them has caused me to go into remission permanently. The only thing that I still deal with on a daily basis, and I wouldn't even say on a daily basis because it's not every day, but that's diarrhea. And when I say that I have diarrhea still, I mean I'll have it like once a day. And most of the time, without getting too explicit, my stools are actually starting to become normal again. So again, explain to me how 2 weeks after I reintroduced animal products, all of the really severe colitis symptoms started to go away, like the blood in my stool, like the low fevers, like the pain in my abdomen after eating. All of that went away. And mind you, at the time, I hadn't even eliminated fiber. I hadn't even eliminated most plant foods. I was still eating mostly vegan, but I had just started to include bone broth, chicken, turkey, and eggs. And these foods had already caused a lot of my colitis symptoms to go away. So there was clearly something in those foods that was healing my body that wasn't there before. Otherwise, my body could have tolerated those plant foods and healed itself, but it clearly couldn't. I was just as stressed during, this period of time as I've always been. But for whatever reason, after the reintroduction of those animal products, my body could suddenly heal itself when it couldn't before. So riddle me that. And I'm just being honest about the fact that, I was eating a lot more plant foods, and my colitis seemed to have gone away back then too, but I just feel so much better in every respect eating the way I do now. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So, again, I hope you guys can relate to this video that have colitis, and I'm super interested to know if you've had any other ignorant doctors tell you that you can heal your colitis through doing a vegan diet. And I know that there are well-intentioned YouTubers and stuff too that say that I also found at the time. I can't remember what they were called, but there were two guys that did like raw veganism that they had a whole channel specifically dedicated to helping people heal irritable bowel diseases through a raw vegan diet, which it just sounds like a nightmare. I mean, I hope that with whatever health issues people have, that they're able to heal them, but colitis and veganism are two things that are just, I don't think they can ever complement or help each other. So that's just my rant. Remembering more stuff about that time in my life. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good night.